have not become a patron of the Geocache Talk Network, what are you waiting for? Patron levels start as low as a Bison Tube level at $3 a month. To sign up is easy. Simply go to the Geocache Talk website and click on the Become a Patron button, or go to patreon.com/Geocache Talk. Patrons now get the famous Blackout coin, invites to special events, and other really great items throughout the year. Become a patron today. Have you subscribed to FTF Magazine yet? FTF Magazine is the #1 geocaching magazine available. It is a quarterly magazine that you can be part of. Submit your geocaching milestones and adventures to be published. FTF Magazine is also interactive with puzzles to solve and the hunt to find Spartacus. If you can solve the puzzle or find Spartacus, then you will be entered in to win a special pack tag. Every new subscription, you will receive a special swag pack. Subscribing is easy. Just visit FTF's website, ftfgeo.com. Don't miss out and subscribe today.
Logwork, the creators of the fantastic logbook, made with genuine Write-in-the-Rain paper. The logbook's designed for the micro-containers of the present and future, geared towards the hider who'd rather go caching than doing cache maintenance. Find them at logwork.com. That's logwerk.com.
Hello, and welcome to Challenge Talk, part of the Geocache Talk Network. You can watch the show live on the second Tuesday of each month. Feel free to jump over to YouTube, Facebook, or X to watch the broadcast live and join the wonderful and active chat room, or listen to the entire show later on your favorite podcast player.
So as you can see, we have some extra special guests tonight. Our primary topic is going to be talking about building a challenge trail. However,
Yes.
I think we've got a couple other topics that we're going to talk about as well.
Probably. And we also have prizes to give away each show to our listeners. Between each show, be sure to email your challenge cache finds to challengetalkpodcast@gmail.com, and you could be a winner.
Later on in the show, we will also play our special game exclusively for our live audience, the Wheel of Challenges. So listen live, get your email app ready, follow the instructions when the time comes so you can have a chance at winning tonight's grand prize.
And at the end of the show, we'll highlight some of the challenge caches you found, and someone will win our coveted monthly giveaway. So we are your hosts, Emily and Tim, and we have Jesse and Nels with us tonight. Welcome, guys. Good to have you.
Yeah. Howdy.
All right.
I'm just here to listen to Bloody Cool inspire me about putting out another challenge trail. So
isn't that why we're all here?
Here?
Awesome. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
It should be fun. So Emily, how did your May go? Let's talk about that first.
Fabulous. Yes,
Yeah?
My trip was absolutely fabulous. I achieved so many goals on my trip. Everything I set out to achieve, not without bumps, not without planning and replanning, but it went well. So I got 18 year 2000 and 2001 caches for both my Jasmer and my mom's Jasmer, and that included 3 states oldest. I love getting those. So at this point, I just need 2 year 2000 caches to get to triple Jasmer, which hopefully will happen in September. And then 3 year 2000 caches, 3 more to get to quad. So that's what I was completely setting myself up for. So I like what I achieved. I also got 4 webcams. I painted the world's largest ball of paint for a milestone cache.
Right.
That was fabulous. I have my little certificate of achievement. I was coat number 29,078. So that was a really fun thing to do. And Tim and I, we got to have an event up in Michigan. Tim, thanks for hosting an event. I got to meet some of your local cachers, which was very nice. And then where I could, I tried to find caches from some of our listeners. So I found a cache by Team Tailwagger in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and Neil Moore up in Michigan. It was great. It was a great trip.
It was awesome. We had such a great event. That was so much fun. And did you post your picture yet?
Which picture?
The picture.
I took a million pictures.
Oh, the picture that's worth 8 points in the challenge trail.
Oh, no, you posted that picture.
Well, I posted it, but you got to post it on your name too.
Yeah.
Because you had all of those too.
So yeah, Tim made sure to get us an 8-point picture with all the different things involved for our challenge trail. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. It was a very good trip. It was a trip with my mom, but at the end of the trip, I visited my dad too in Utah, and that turned out to be my plan/replan, to get one of those caches I really needed to meet my goals. And so my dad got to be along for the last big achievement of the trip. Mom and I were super nervous. It was a long car ride to get to this cache. I didn't know, what's the success going to be. And my dad was the cheerleader the whole time. He was adamant about getting up that hill, and he did it. And that was fabulous.
So cool.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah. So how about you guys? Any updates from you guys, Tim?
Well, I just got back from Geo Woodstock
Mm-hmm.
20, the 20th anniversary in Arizona. That was a fabulous time. Met so many patrons of the show or friends of the show. I hope that everyone we meet is a patron of the show, but I appreciate those that can support the show, and even those that can't, financially. At least they're here in the chat room. I see many of the names in the chat room already that I met in Arizona, and that was just a ton of fun. The events were great. The side effects were all well together. And because I've been on the backside of some of these events now, I'm always looking to see how do the event organizers handle challenges. Well, the first thing I noticed was there weren't any challenges. It was so well planned and so well laid out that it seemed to go absolutely fantastic. And I got to meet one of a person that I have been longing to meet, a friend of the show, and his name is the Twonky. And it was really hard to figure out which one of us was more excited to meet the other one.
I love that kind of meeting. Fabulous.
So, yep, and your visit to Michigan just capped that trip off. It was a very long ride home from Woodstock,
Uh-huh.
but that was so much fun. And
Yeah, I
then
appreciate you fitting that into that week, that
it
busy
was
week for
easy.
you.
And I'll do it for Jesse when he comes to do that August cache.
Yeah, that'll be. I don't know when it's going to happen, but it's going to happen.
Okay. And then the other thing that I have to remind folks about and ask for some help with is that the event coming up, Midwest Geobash, at the end of July, Acorn Mama has opened up her campsite, K10-13-4, so we can have a hot dog party there and a little meet and greet. I'm bringing the hot dogs. I need to know how many to bring. So let Acorn Mama know if you're going to come to this unofficial event. And we also need a portable grill. So if you're going to Midwest Geobash, you happen to have a hot dog grill or something suitable to grill hot dogs on, bring it, because neither Acorn Mama nor I have it, and I really hate raw hot dogs.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good.
That wouldn't be a good host.
No. So we need some help with that, and hopefully it's going to be on Friday night. I just saw in the chat room, K-Blast was asking about it. Friday night between the end of the poker run and the beginning of the tinfoil hat, kind of in that little low where you're not really sure where you're going to go, what you're going to do. You got to get dinner, so you might as well come over, have a hot dog, bring some chips, bring some tater salad, whatever, and bring some drinks, and we'll just hang out for a little bit, meet and greet, and then we'll go over to the tinfoil hat night.
Awesome. Sounds fun.
So that's coming up. That's what I got for the month. It's been a busy month.
Yeah. Anything notable for you guys, Nels, Jesse?
I right after our show went down for about 10 days with the flu, so that stopped me for a little bit. I was in bed for several days. I didn't cache those days, by the way. But coming out of that, I've had time to find a few caches, and all of my travel starts this coming up week. So I'll be traveling.
So you have that anticipation. Yeah.
So it's all planned out. Everything should be good. I mean, who knows what's going to happen, right? But still going to try to black out the map and hit my other big annual goals that I'm trying to hit. Came up from the flu and got to do a little bit of caching, and then just had a couple opportunities to take some friends, like new cashers, like less than 20 caches, out caching. So
Awesome.
kind of planned that day out, like one of each type to show them everything. And it didn't really hit any of these goals for this, but it's fun to show people, you know, kind of friends that aren't cachers or that are newer cachers, bring them into the game, right? And
Absolutely. Give
I'll
them a
spend all day
good
doing
first
that. And you know,
experience.
whereas we would normally go out and find 30 or 40 caches in that time period, to take them to special ones around that they can go, oh, this is what this is, and this is what a challenge cache is, this is what a letterbox is. That was great. So I had a lot of fun so far, even though I really haven't dived into the meat of the summer for me yet. That's coming up starting this week, so I'm excited about it.
Good, very good. Woo, excited for you. I love people's awesome plans. Living through you guys. Awesome. Nels, anything special from since we talked to you last? It's been about 2 months, right?
Yeah, no, nothing too crazy. I've been visiting family a lot. Spent about 4 out of the last 5 weeks with family.
Oh, nice.
Not doing a lot of geocaching, but I fit some around the edges and have managed to make some progress on the wagon trail. So, you know, there's always time somewhere for a cache, even if it's going and coming. So
right. All right. Fabulous. Good. Well, that's a great segue, because our news is really about the Challenge Academy trails this time. So, man, you guys have been amazing since our introduction to the trails last month, and you guys are blowing it out of the water. Tim, what did you pull up there? Oh, do you want to share that?
Oh, I was waiting more a little bit. I thought I pulled in a little bit early because you were about to give away someone, and maybe more than one, but at least one we know about has blacked out the challenge trail already.
Yes, the first person that we know of that blacked out the trail is K-Blast. So congratulations, well done.
Good job. That's some dedication right there.
That is dedication.
He's got 41 points.
We're 11 days into June, and you already accomplished the whole, like, find 100 in each month, find 400 minimum. So pretty awesome. Well done.
Yeah. So here on the screen, you can see what a blacked out one looks like. And then, you know, I did have to start, and we know Jesse was sick. We'll kind of give him a pass. And when the challenges first came out, he was asking about, is it a rolling 30 days or is it a month-to-month kind of thing? Well, I thought about it, and if we did a rolling 30 days, there was only like 45, 50 some days from the announcement date till Cache Fest. So I said, no, we need to keep this as May, June, and July. And the fact that Jesse got sick in May means, okay, he still got June and July to get 2 months in.
Right.
So but not very much in July, though, because
he didn't say, you know, how much you were going to have.
Well, I mean, the event's going to be here in no time, the first week of July.
Right. So you got 5 days.
Very soon.
Oh, yeah. That's nothing.
I mean, come on.
5 days on a road trip. Exactly.
Yeah. Come on. That's nothing. We got this.
So there is the challenge competition among the hosts. And right now you can see that Jesse here has, congratulations. You've got 14 points already.
That's pretty good for 10 days down.
Not bad.
Yeah, for sure.
Emily's got 17 points according to the checker.
According to the checker, I have something that I disagree with there, but
right, we'll work on that.
Here's been my personal tracking, so that's where I declare myself to be at this point.
There you go.
Yeah, and the checker
there's this other guy that's, you know, there's this other host that's sitting out there with 34 points right now. And it does not have everything updated today that I went into.
But
yes, it does. I got 34 points. I got my Jasmer for 23 done. I got one more in 21 and one more in 17. Those targets picked out. I'll have those tomorrow, and I'll join K-Blast
in a blacked out card.
41 points. So
nice. And these checkers don't count the photos. You have to add in those points yourself. So one for each of the 10 photos and an extra 5 if you get them all. But yeah, how much fun. We are really enjoying everybody's participation in this. I think it's really great that it challenges all us, even us dedicated cachers, to level it up. And that's really fun. I also saw in the notes, Jen said I finished mine as
Oh,
well.
nice.
So well done.
Woohoo.
People are
Congrats.
catching up. We are starting to get blacked out cards, which is awesome.
All right.
You know, when
So
y'all
we'll
first brought
probably
the
talk
cards out,
in July, we'll probably talk, the After Cash Fest and
Mhm.
get people's feedback. I mean, the chat has been great. The social media has been blowing up with pictures. That's fabulous. But, really want to get the feedback for, was it too hard? Was it too easy? What should we do next time? So, oh yeah, thanks, Emily. So this is what we've got on the screen right now is the checker for which is a little hard to get to.
Yeah, so it's going to be linked in our show notes. Also, it's linked on our social media, but here it is as well. When you go to the challenge checker page to search, just start your search for a checker. If you add this number at the end of the URL 88392, it'll pull up our checker. That's if you don't have a direct link, that's probably the easiest thing you can do.
Yeah, and I just put it in the live chat tonight, so
Thank you.
we got those folks taken care of as well.
All right.
But considering everybody was chomping at the bit for that one to come out, again, really want to say thanks to our scripter Hugh out in Canada, and so he put this together he put last year's together, and I asked him to update it this year, and we found at least one little tweak. So if you see that it's not working for you, send an email in, challengetalk at challengetalkpodcast@gmail.com. And thank you. And let us know, because we want it to be right. We want it to be inclusive, but we can't check every scenario when we're building it. We can only check it on the fly to see if it works.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll just say real quick, another neat part of my trip, when I went to Indiana's first cache up in Elkhart, Indiana, I opened the book and K-Blast was on the log that same day as me. So that was fun
nice.
too.
He's just everywhere.
He's
They were
just
stalking
everywhere doing things, blacking out cards.
Very good. Not a lot changed in our monthly challenge statistics, although, last month was kind of a slow month with 100 some odd challenges. This month we went up 406
Ooh.
challenges.
Wow.
That's worldwide. The US now is 16,650. There wasn't any changes in the number of states, the number of countries, and where they rank. But that's a lot of challenges, and I guess we'll take credit for that because we have Place a Challenge as one of the challenge trail things.
That's right. I still need to do it, but I've got all my thoughts together. I now need to turn my thoughts into actions.
Cool.
Yeah.
So the real topic of tonight, after all of that, is building a challenge trail, and this kind comes from a discussion that Nels and I had when we were doing the Longhorn Challenge, the GeoArt, because as much fun as it was, there were things that we were observing that we were like, we would do differently. And then Nels once said, this would be a good topic for a show. And I said, great, put it together. Let's have you on. So Nels, what can you tell us?
Yeah, so I want to start out with a quote from Retired Guy. I thought his way of putting it really kind of summed it up in a short statement, which is the goal of a challenge power trail should be that the cacher can find 100% of the caches and then log found at logs for all they qualify for. So I think, very succinctly, that's kind of the goal of a challenge trail is to have that experience for the people coming out. And I think that's the first thing that, if you're thinking about putting a challenge trail out, to consider is what sort of experience do you want cachers who come to do it to have? Not just starting out thinking, hey, what challenges can I put in here? But really taking a step back and thinking, overall, what do I want the experience for them to be?
So I have a question already for you. And I'm very excited about this topic. So, and obviously, Retired Guy, big friend of the show. Anybody that's been to Podcast of Hope or anything, big friend of the show, right? We're big fan. He's been on there several times. So is he saying that? What I'm trying to understand from that they should be able to cashers should be able to come and find 100% of those at one time, and then eventually be able to log them all. Is that kind of what that quote's saying?
Yeah, I think the idea there is a challenge trail. I mean, and obviously different people want to put it out different ways, but the idea is not to make them very difficult for people to find. So, these aren't micros that you have to search around for 20 minutes for each one. The Retired Monkey Challenge Trail is the exact same container, hidden in a similar manner every 528 feet. You still do some searching for it, but the idea is really about the challenges. And you go down there, and I think there's 250 or so. You're probably not going to do them all in one day, or at least I didn't do the 200 I did in one day. But then so finding them isn't the thing. Then you go, okay, which of these do I qualify?
Now what do I qualify for?
And I'm still working on those. I've qualified for a couple, 100 of them, I think 140. But I still have my list of stuff that I'm working on. So it's the gift that keeps on giving. And I think that's what he was really getting.
I love that.
Yeah. Well, and that was our experience in Texas as well. I mean, we realized very quickly that we needed 3 things to complete that challenge trail. We needed a portable ladder, we needed a monkey, and someone who could climb trees, and we needed an extendable reach pole. And if you didn't have those 3 things, you could not get all of the caches. And then the way the trail was separated, there were gaps in the trail, and I think TTO2 did a really good job trying to articulate how best to attack the trail, but it could not be done in one day. I'm not sure the audience that he was really setting it up for, but clearly I don't get on an airplane with a portable ladder. So all of those were out of my reach.
I will travel for such a geo attraction, but in my travels, I don't have the resources to. I'm not typically driving to a geo attraction.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly the sort of things that you need to think about when you're planning it. Is kind of who's your audience? Are they going to be local people? The Longhorn Challenge Trail to me was set up more for locals with the amount of equipment you needed, the length of it. That's hard to travel and do that. Or is it really set up for travelers like the Retired Monkey Challenge Trail, where it's very straightforward, literally. Basically down one road. It's repeatable, hides. Set up very much with that in mind to help people do it efficiently. And there's always nothing new, but having really hard challenges versus having really easy challenges, so that there's something there for beginner cachers who don't look at it and say, well, why would I bother? Because
exactly.
I'm so far away from this stuff. So thinking about having a range, maybe not necessarily the bronze, silver, gold of each type, but just, some that are easier. But interestingly, I think it's also not the easy ones aren't just for new cachers. Some of the low DT ones are for experienced cachers. I just got my first 1-1 challenge cache within the past 2 months, I think, and I have over 1,000 challenge caches. And there's only 41 of those in the US, 1-1 challenge caches out of, that's 0.25%. So those low DTs are actually very rare for challenge caches. And, for crazy people who want to do a challenge cache fizzy, that's important. Yeah, that's one of the things I'm working on. So, so it's not just for the easy, or for the newer cachers. Making the easy challenges actually matters for, fun statistics that we all love.
Right. And Nels, I know that you were going to answer or talk about this at some point. It does go along with how you want to set this up and where you want to spend your efforts. So K-Blast asked, are challenge trails done like geo art, or are they like the ET Power Trail? And this question kind of has the underlying question of, are you going to correct coordinates, or are you just going to flat out say these are at posted coordinates? So what's the pros and cons there?
So I think that one comes down to maybe how long the trail is. I certainly prefer not having to change all those coordinates and update them. It does, I mean, according to the guidelines, you don't have to have it as posted, but you do have to have a visible coordinate listed there if you're going to let them update it. But having done that for a couple hundred of challenge caches, you're just copying and pasting over and over and over. You're not really gaining anything. It's not like, oh, it's a fun puzzle. You're just doing busy work. And to me, the challenge trail doesn't need to be pretty geo art. It's about the challenges. And so I'm, not to say that's bad that people do that it's great, but my preference is it's a lot easier if you don't have them change all those. Or I did one of the state stars that I did a couple of years ago. They had, after you corrected a number of them, you could download all the corrected coordinates for the whole GeoArt. And so there was a way to quickly get all of the coordinates to everything, because they didn't want you to do that busy work, but they still wanted it to be a star. And I really like that. Like, hey, there's a way to do it both. Let's make it easy on the cacher to get the corrected coordinates without having to hit copy and paste 50 to 200 times. But yet you can still have a GeoArt.
Yeah, I think as a user, as you talk about it, maybe a short GeoArt in the shape of a mystery icon, or something like that, it wouldn't bother me. But if this is a giant GeoArt where you're not even solving the chords, you're just correcting them over and over, I think I would get a bit bothered with a long trail.
And again, I think that comes from or at least my first experience with a challenge trail, which was a geo art in the Texas Longhorn. It was a lot of building those icons and just copying and pasting and making sure that I had everything in there. And I started copying, pasting the ones that I qualified for, and then went, oh, but I got to go and find all the rest. So I got to do it to all of them. One of the other saving graces was the cache tour tool, because after I had done all of that busy work, then I could invite Nels to the party, and all he had to do was download the corrected coordinates that I had updated. So it wasn't onerous on him. I don't know how many he did on his own, but that tool in your caching party helps. But I agree. It really comes down to who, what, where, when, why. As you look for a cache, you sometimes can't find it, and you look for a hint. Well, and if you don't have a hint, you look to the attributes. Well, we found many attributes on these cache pages that had nothing to do with the hide. It was all about building up that number of attributes that you needed to complete a challenge later on. Who does that help? One of them that we were looking for was in an abandoned mine, and it was a fence along a power line.
And that's especially problematic when if you do have some hides that are up in trees, like which I thoroughly enjoy. I'm all for challenge caches up in trees, being a one who loves tree climbing. But when you start fudging the attributes, then the cacher doesn't know, is it really in a tree, or is this just fudging the attributes? So you can cause a lot of
preparation work.
Well, there were a couple that we looked to see, does it have the tree climb attribute or not? And then if it didn't, then we stopped looking up in the tree. But again, we found a couple that were misleading. So it can be. So you want to rate your challenge trail properly, and let people, and again, if you're known to your local community and this is a trail for your local community, you can do different things than you would do if people are coming. Are you entertaining visitors? Do you want travelers to come get your caches? You know, that's an entirely different set of circumstances that you may or may not treat everything the same way.
Mm-hmm.
And best practices too, if you're going to do something, and if you're going to do something funky with the difficulty and terrain, or you're going to do something funky with the attributes, just put it in the description. Just say it's part of the trail, describe what you're doing. Because if you put a bunch of tree climbs in there that's just for gathering attributes, then people coming from out of town may actually be gathering up ladders and stuff that are unnecessary if that's not true. So just, if you're going to fudge all that stuff, I think it's best practice is to just put it in the description. Like, you know, if you need a hint, do this. If attributes are all over the place, they mean this or that. Just let people know what you're doing. Don't do it just to be frustrating. Don't do it just to manipulate stuff because you want people to find the challenge trail. You
Right.
want to make it where they can find it. You know,
Well,
you don't
Have you
want to
guys ever?
yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever come across a problem with padding a cache with things and getting a reviewer not so happy with you? Anyone have experience?
I haven't actually seen that. I don't think they really mess with attributes.
No.
Now, if you put, if a reviewer wanted to, and you're putting stuff like scuba, and it's in the middle of the desert, like the ET trail, I think nowadays they would probably say something on it, but I don't know that they would deny the publishing of it based on that, because you can change them based on puzzles and stuff. So
the last reviewer I spoke to about it said that they were instructed not even to look at attributes.
Okay,
so
that makes sense though.
He does not look at them at all. And I will be the first to admit, on my events, I will absolutely abuse attributes on my events. Not on any real caches, but events. You know, people know that I'm not going to have an event in an abandoned mine, or even though I'm a tree climber and probably would want to host one up in a tree, they know it's not in a tree. You know, so I think there's a time for that. But yeah, they're not gonna turn anything down, even if you say it's scuba in an abandoned mine, which. Don't do that. But
I don't know. Wait a minute.
I mean,
because
that's possible.
the Bonne Terre mine in Bonne Terre, Missouri is an awesome place to go diving. I've been there a number of times.
Time to have an event.
Yeah.
I heard Jesse say yes. I think
Jesse did not say yes. I'll just claim it and say that I was there. How about that? There we go.
Yeah, Jedi Trash Panda says, gotta watch out for those cows while you're scuba diving in an old mine.
Absolutely.
Underwater cows are dangerous.
They are very dangerous.
They're frantic.
Yeah.
Well, in the Bonne Terre mine in Bonne Terre, Missouri, there is a railroad car that has a cow catcher on the front because they had mules in the mine. So that's a very true statement.
Wow. That's fun.
Great.
That's fun.
So I think you're talking about the environment, though. That's another thing to consider is when you're thinking about what sort of experience do you want cachers to have is, I've done short power trails where we were walking along a guardrail next to a busy highway through all the trash that people toss out of their cars. And certainly that didn't keep us from doing it. There are three of us walking along there finding the caches, but it was not what I would consider a great caching experience.
Mm-hmm.
Versus, we're walking through a forest on a nice path, stopping every 500 feet to find a cache that was hidden in the same type of container in the same way was a very pleasant way to spend a morning with one of my caching friends. I would do that anytime, whereas the other one, it's like, yeah, I'm going to do it, but I'm not really going to enjoy it. So, take that into account when you set it up. Like, where are they going to be? Are they going to be walking under underpass and trash, or, somewhere where it's actually pleasant?
Well, and that's where you want to, the reason why that becomes so important, like, it's not going to stop you from doing it, but people forget a lot of times that they're caching a lot of people cache with their kids. And do you want your kids going through that kind of trash? I don't want mine walking through that, right? Unclean human trash, things like that. So that's where it does become important to let people know what they're getting into.
Right.
And we even learned that in Texas is that, again, because I now know so many people people took me aside and said, hey, make sure you're not caching after dark on this trail. And it was an area that you didn't want to be after dark.
Yeah.
And so that's important. And we walked, I don't know, what was it, maybe half a mile under a 2-lane or 4-lane freeway where we had, 100 feet up, there's cars going 60, 70 miles an hour over us. And we're walking through a junkyard.
Yeah.
Not pleasant. I mean, again, we're there for the challenges, so we kind of ignore the vistas and the views. But is it really what you want your audience to take away from the experience?
That's the thing you're thinking about, right? If we're talking about hiding, if you're going to go out and do one, really think about your audience. Think about where you want them to be. You can shove a challenge trail anywhere. Doesn't mean it's a good idea, right?
Yeah. Right.
Think of you want it to be pleasant. You want to have those good experiences for people. Put it in a place, if it's down a road, that's great. If it's down a road with huge traffic, not as great. If there is, find pull-offs, right? Make it easy for people to do. Not everybody is as insane as you may be. So you want to have a nice, pleasant experience for them because they're going to enjoy it more.
Yeah. And traffic is a good one to consider because depending on what time you usually do your caching, I am a huge fan of being up at dark 30, and caching before most people are awake because that just makes life easier. I go down a road at 5 o'clock in the morning and there's hardly any traffic. Hey, that's great. But, somebody who doesn't like to get up that early comes down at, 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning and it's, rush hour, crazy traffic. That's a whole different experience and much more dangerous if they're trying to pull off. So even if you find a great road that, you think is good, it's good to make sure it's good most of the time. Or what does it look like on weekends? So, if there is considerations there, you can put that in your description. As Jesse said, just let them know, if there's stuff that the people going for this really need to know about, traffic, or, hey, this place is full of, stinging nettles. We're doing some kayak caching this weekend and there are 5-foot high stinging nettles on this island. And we were prepared because we knew about it. But, stuff like that, you got to let people know what they're getting into or else it's really going to affect, how much fun they have.
Yeah. And,
and as a traveler.
Sorry, I saw this one come up from Eminem from M, which was, you shouldn't be anywhere at night. Well, I like night caches, but don't take me to a very seedy area.
Right.
Do that night cache, take me into a nice park. I don't want to go to Central Park in New York and do night caches. Thank you, but no, thank you. There are places for that and times for that.
Yeah. And as a traveler, I'm constantly scouring the cache page and logs for anything I can figure out ahead of time so that I know what's doable in my trip. And that would just make it so helpful. If it's not obviously a side road with easy pull-offs, that would help a lot.
And I mean, providing parking information is helpful for everybody, but especially traveling cachers who don't know the area. Having an idea, especially when you get into the city areas where there's parking, either metered parking or parking lots that all have the, hey, you park here, we'll tow your car because it's private. I spend hours and hours just trying to figure out where to park for some things, and so scouting that out for the cachers will be coming to give them good places to park. And also, if you can break it up, so, hey, they don't have to do the whole thing in a day. Are there multiple exit and entry points to this?
Right. If this isn't on, a road, but rather a trail, such a good point. Yeah.
That can be really tricky too, because Google Maps from a distance, if you're not familiar with the area, it looks like it's down a road, but it may be down a road that you can't drive cars on, and it's 15 miles long. That's a whole different experience than I'm just going to drive, hop. So that's something you want to warn people of. If you're thinking locals, you're like, well, everybody knows that, but not everybody's going to be local. So that's extremely important.
Yeah.
And the season is something that also is very important, especially if you're not local. If it's down the side of a road, there may be parts of the year where that side of the road is underwater. And I've done parts of challenge trails in muck boots, walking slowly because the water was almost over the top of them. But I was prepared because that was in the information on the page, and so I knew what to expect. But consider cachers are going to be doing this year round. So
Yeah.
what do I need to
Are they winter
consider?
friendly? I can think of being in Duluth, Minnesota in January. That guardrail might not even be there right now.
Right.
Yep. Could be under a pile of snow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And Jedi Trash Panda is saying, I've gone out to find some power trails on rural roads that had some questionable parking, mostly shoulders that aren't wide enough to fully pull off the road, or you have to pull in the grass. It is a very different experience to do that for 1, 2 versus a power trail of something.
Absolutely.
I have quit. It wasn't a challenge trail, but I have quit a power trail because I was just like, no, this is not even fun because I'm worried about my parking to begin with. Yeah.
Right. That's all you want when you're traveling is to get your rental car stuck in a ditch.
Right.
Or hit by another car, or
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, there are certain things you can do with rental cars that you wouldn't necessarily do with your car, but still you got to get it back to the rental agency at some point.
Trying to avoid like a $500 cleaning fee. Right. Right.
A geocacher whose name I will not mention said to all of us in the car, say it along with me, boys, it's a rental car. We'll just say we did not return all the pieces of that car.
Hey, I have used a rental car as a ladder before. I'm just going to say that.
Sure.
Didn't have a ladder, park under a tree,
Use a car.
and on top of it, it's a ladder.
Oh, that's great.
Hopefully,
Well,
no rental
Nels, you
agencies listen
also.
to the show.
Oh, go ahead.
So if you're a rental agency, we're lying. We're just kidding. We're not really
Don't
doing
listen
that.
to us.
Yeah.
We still rent to geocachers.
Nels, you had some thoughts on containers and maintenance too.
Yeah, so beyond just considering using the same container type so people know what they're looking for on each one, obviously picking a container that's going to be easy to reach in and get the log, like pill bottles where you have that small neck and a big log and you're fishing around for it. Something durable that's going to stay out there a long time, because that's a good experience for the cacher. But as the CO, you need to be able to provide maintenance on this. So having good containers that require less maintenance is going to make your life easier. And in general, that's another thing to consider when you're thinking about these is, hey, I need to have some plan for maintenance, because no cacher wants to travel across the country, show up for a trail of challenges, and then start DNFing things. I mean, that's the worst situation. Like, you're not going to ever get back there. For different shows, whether you claim it or not, whether you found it.
Yep.
But consider just making sure you've thought about that, the ability to keep them maintained. And I think one good example of that again is Retired Guy, who's one of the co-owners of the Retired Monkey Challenge Trail. Is he has in the description of that challenge trail on the website, along with the checkers and all that show you how much of it you qualify for, information on if you're planning on doing it from end to end. He'll actually ship you some supplies to replace what's needed. So he does not live in Florida anymore, where the trail is, and so he has that set up as a way to ensure that the trail is maintained, but also that cachers who are planning on doing it out, you're basically guaranteed to not get a DNF, because you have the supplies to take care of any issues you find, and it keeps it in great shape for everybody who's coming after you. So for situations like that, there's a great way to do it that doesn't require as much effort from the CO to make sure it's a good experience for people.
Yeah.
And I've run into that many times with that trail, with other trails. I always contact, if I'm going out of town to do a challenge trail, I contact the owner and say, what are the containers? Do you want me to replace them if they're not there? Go through all that so I can know what to bring. If there's ones, if they want them replaced, I just find out what they are. If it's preformed, I just buy a box of preforms, go with them. But I mean, I do that. I contact the owner first because some people are particular about it. And technically, you're not supposed to replace them without permission. But almost always they're like, yeah, that'd be great if there's any missing, and if they have all preforms, or whatever they have, if they have all a certain type of container, it's easy to go out there and do that maintenance. Just contact them ahead of time. Now, a retired guy even offers to help you out with it, right? But
yeah,
most people can't do that. So that's great, and it keeps it fresh. I did some caches the other day, and I'd gone before, and a bunch of them were missing, so I didn't do it. And then I went back, and somebody had just found them and gone back and replaced a bunch of them. So they were all in perfect condition with new logs. That was great. That was excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I think it brings up, here's another question from K-Blast, which, we started this topic because of a challenge trail that Nels and I were on. But as I listened to the discussion, this is general caching etiquette, whether it's a power trail or a single cache.
It is.
If you put a cache out today, who's going to come get that cache? Is it going to be people who are local? Is it somebody coming in? I mean, Emily just came to Michigan to visit and got a number of our local caches. So we started the topic wanting to stay with challenge talk because that's what we do. But whether it's a power trail, whether it's a single cache, everything we're talking about tonight absolutely applies. Be courteous to your fellow cachers, help them out when they're coming to visit your area. Give them as much information as you can.
Right.
We've got some big woods here in Michigan and some national forests with caches in it. How do you get there? Where's the trail? Where's the trailhead? Where's the parking?
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of times it's up to you to figure it out.
But I think it's even more important when it comes to this, because if you're hiding one cache, yeah, it's important that you do it right. You're going to bring somebody to that cache. But if you're hiding 50 caches, you're going to bring a lot more people to that. So it's important. You're magnifying everything that's important normally.
Yeah, you're right. It's magnified.
It would apply to geotrails too, but I mean, for challenges especially. But that's not the true elephant in the room, though, which has been floating through the true elephant in the room has been flying through the chat room, which is terrain.
Yes.
How do you rate your terrain? We know what the rules say, but I think who wants to jump on that one?
Well, and K-Blast also asked, I got some negative feedback that my terrain matched the cache, not the terrain necessary for the caches in the challenge. So it sounds like he rated difficulty per the challenge, terrain per the hide, and that is actually per guidelines what
That
you
is
should
correct.
Yes.
But we know why people don't do that. Because they want to cheat and get 18 fizzies in a day. And it's an easy cheater way to do it. The old rules were like that. You could fudge whatever you wanted to. Well, it's a fizzy, so they had to drive far to do it. It's a fizzy challenge. So blah, blah, blah. But that's not the current rules. And people like the old ways. But the problem with that is, and I think the reason why HU got on that, if something's rated as a 5-5 and it's a challenge, right? The 5 is a difficulty. The other 5 just because, well, it takes a long time to do it. But that doesn't tell you about the cache you're going for. So whether it's a tree, if you go up to a cache and it's rated as a 3, you're looking up in the tree. You're not looking down on the ground. It tells you what you're getting into. And some people are not capable. A lot of people are not capable of doing a real 5 terrain cache. So they'll just not go for it. Or that's outside of their physical capabilities. So that's why terrain is supposed to be rated correctly, because that's a safety issue. That's not just somebody's stat issue. And I know that really cheeses people off, but that's the truth of it, right? That terrain is there for a safety issue. It's not for padding stats.
No.
Right.
And the new challenges that I just put out, many of them are 3.5, 4.5, 4s. They're I really don't want to give it all away, but anyway, not many people
spoilers.
Yeah, you need a reach pole. That's how they were placed, and they're 20 feet up in a tree. So if you don't have a reach pole, number one, you're scouting to find something to reach it with. It does have a special tool required attribute. I don't tell them what the tool is, but it's got that attribute.
Yeah.
And they're way up in a tree. Some of the trees are climbable. Cheeky Britt just scrambled up one of the challenges that I didn't think it was a climbable tree. He went up and got it.
Amazing.
You know, so I did. They are higher terrain rated. The one is a 2.5, 4, because the difficulty of the challenge is not that difficult, but it's 25 feet up a tree. You'd love it,
Yeah.
Nels. It's a pine tree. It's easy to climb.
Ooh,
But-
sounds
fun to me.
lovely. Lovely
Yeah.
climbing there.
The legitimate terrain of a challenge can still be up to a 5.
Sure.
You can put them on islands. You can put them, in a lot of places. So you can make the terrain be anything you want. Just make it real. And, if you want to do it, if you want to make a true 5-5 challenge, put it somewhere difficult, right?
Mhm.
Just don't lie about it. You can do it. There's always ways to get the terrain, but that terrain should be there and should be legit. Just people know what they're getting into, and I've been on trails, or even for challenges or power trails. I guess you can't call them a power trail, but a trail where you have to have ladders for several of them, or you have to, you have to go through water to get to several of them. That's fun. It's a good mix for everybody, but that going in, so it's perfectly okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, this has been a great topic. Nels, is there anything else you wanted to touch on before we move on to our games?
No, I think there's always enough for another show, but I think we
Oh, yeah.
did enough tonight.
Well, thanks for bringing your thoughts on, sharing your inspiration per your experiences, and then bringing that to us. We appreciate that.
Most welcome.
So now we're going to transition to game time, and first starting with our Wheel of Challenges. One live viewer each month will be selected to face off against the wheel to have a chance to win the grand prize, a 1-year membership on Project GC. We do ask that you limit yourself to 3 lifetime wins. But to enter, we want you, let me pull it up here, to send an email with the subject containing Spin Me, followed by your geocaching username and brackets, and answer the following question. The first verified user gets to go up against the wheel. Your profile will be checked live on Project GC, and if you qualify, you win. So here is our question. I didn't click the right button. Here is our question. Which well-known challenge trail owner did Bloody Cool quote on tonight's show?
And while we wait for an answer
sure.
there, probably a couple of years ago now, but I failed on the Wheel of Challenges one week on a 31 days of tree climbs. And I think
The
that
tree
actual
climb guy.
challenge cache is somewhere up in Canada, but I spent the next 2 years qualifying for that thing. So I don't know if I'll ever get there, but darn it, I qualify for
You
that.
qualify now.
All
I love
right,
it.
well,
That
good.
is so
So
perfect.
now, will you put one out that you're qualified for? You're now qualified to put one out.
Only if the reviewer is very kind on the geocaching area from which I can get my list of other people who qualify, because there's not a lot of tree climbs in Maryland or in the DC area, and I'm one of the main people who does the climbing. So finding that list of qualifiers would be the challenge there, but I'd love to.
It sounds like you need to put out 31 tree climb caches.
Well, they all have to be in different counties. So
Oh dear. Well, you got counties there, right?
You got counties there. That's great.
That is
Well,
a ridiculously tough
congrats.
challenge. That is insane.
Yeah, that's really cool for you to follow up, even if you might not ever get to sign a log about it. Well, we do have our first correct winner, which is Jedi Trash Panda. So congratulations. It's time to spin the wheel and see if you qualify.
All right, let's see what challenge they're going to get. Come on, something in the middle. All right.
4 difficulty.
Oh my Lord.
A
So this is
500
GC.
multi-challenge.
Yeah, GCAA. Oh, You're already gone.
Well, all right. AA Foxtrot 9 X-ray.
Thank you. I can't read.
It is
screens
an
that small.
87. It's an 87 challenge difficulty. Your quest is to
87.
find 500 multi-caches.
Ooh.
So
I do not qualify.
I hope the Panda.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I do not qualify for that
I
either.
know I don't.
I know I do because I just put a cache out like this.
Oh yeah, and someone's asking what was the answer. It was retired guy. We
Retired
quoted
guy.
retired guy at the beginning. Oh, and Jedi Trash Panda does not qualify.
He has 77 of the 500. Better do some multi-challenge.
All right, be like bloody cool and work on this.
That's right.
You never know where you're going to need this in the future. All right. Well, thanks for participating. We're glad that everyone's here live who is with us tonight to do that. So now we're going to move on to our monthly challengers. Every month we give a congratulatory shout out to listeners who email us proof of qualifying and logging a challenge cache since the last show. Anyone who sends an email to challengetalkpodcast@gmail.com with your GC code showing a found it log and a photo if you'd like to share will be entered for the prize giveaway for a Challenge Talk Path tag. So here are a few of the interesting challenges we heard about from our listeners. Tim's pulling it up.
I got to actually add it to the screen here. So this one, the first one came in from Jedi Trash Panda, which is GC9BQH6. This is a challenge for non-millennials.
What a title.
I think millennials probably don't even know what these are.
Probably not.
The challenge here is to find 5 geocaches that have the wireless beacon attribute.
Remember the wireless beacon caches? You had to have a Garmin that could receive the beacon. I still have an active cache out there with a beacon. If you've got a Garmin, come to Coos Bay, Oregon.
Yeah, we have a couple in our area too that and my Oregon 450 reads them, and I actually have a chirp in my closet that I just have to change the battery on, and I use
That's
it
right. It's called a chirp. That's the Garmin brand.
The
It's
Garmin
a chirp. I don't even think you can buy them anymore. I looked when I thought I needed to maybe replace
eBay would
one.
have somebody used.
Maybe if you get lucky. Yeah.
Yeah.
So good. Congratulations.
This next one?
This next one is sent in by Bloody Cool. This is GC55AHK. Charter member Nifty 50. So this is finding 1 cache per charter member up to 50. So they want 50 total charter members. Is that what I'm understanding?
But it has to be active charter members. So
an active charter member. Ooh,
so
making it even harder
all the time. And you frequently lose numbers, as the months go by. So it's 2 step forward, 1 step back type of thing.
Yeah, and that difficulty is a 93. So no doubt based on what you're describing. So well done. That's cool. I'm curious about that one.
That is an interesting one.
The next one was sent in by Thunderstruck, and I actually had the opportunity to meet him in Arizona, and he was one that was kind of funny because I walked up to him at an event, and he heard my name and heard my voice, and he's like, "I know you. I know you. Where do I know you from?" And it took us probably 5 minutes to figure out which was the right podcast that I was on, and he finally came up with the code word. So Thunderstruck sent in GC5530T, which is K10 Hanging with Friends Challenge. And I thought this one was pretty cool because you needed to attend at least 20 events in a 31-day period. So they could be CETOs, Megas, Gigas, Maze, block parties, but you had to have 20 days of events in the 31 days.
That is very social.
Yeah, this is a pre-moratorium challenge, and actually has a rating of 91 on it. So it's a pretty tough challenge.
Cool.
That's insanely tough.
Yeah.
I guess when I didn't even think about it being that tough, but yeah, that would take a lot of coordination, a lot of dedication, maybe from a group who plans it that way, or you just get lucky.
Right.
Cool. Very cool. All
So this
right,
is
our
another cashier
next.
that I met. Yeah,
Oh yeah, you got to meet him. Good.
I
So,
did.
am I Bedstafader Skule? I'm gonna
Cooley.
always struggle with that name.
Yeah.
But he sent in GCAA 879 Four Corners Challenge by one of our regular listeners, Just Finding Our Way. So he found the challenge was to find 4 caches in each of the 4 corner states: Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico, and Utah. And we heard that this one took quite a beating after all the traffic from Woodstock this year. So it got archived.
Yeah, Just Finding Our Way put out, I think it was a dozen, maybe, challenge caches, and they were really cool. They were 3D acorns that you unscrewed the
Oh,
bottom
Mm.
of the
yeah.
acorn, and the log was there. And I went through Saturday. No, I went through Friday before the mountain event, and they were getting pretty worn then. And by Saturday, they were done. They just didn't hold up. So another for your challenge trail, if you're going to put out a lot of caches, better make sure that a lot of people can handle it. And I know
Mhm.
megas are
Mhm.
a tough event anyway, and Woodstocks are kind of the super megas. So you're going to have a lot of traffic to your
Oh
caches.
yeah.
Our next one is from K-Blast. This one is GC8HZWT, and it's an Ohio County Century Challenge. We have a lot of these in Michigan. It's to find 100 caches in a particular county. And this happens to be Delaware County in Ohio. You can find them at any time. I do not qualify for this one. I'm not sure where Delaware County is.
I
But
certainly noticed in my trip planning for Indiana and Michigan, a lot of the challenge caches were for counties, finding
yeah,
a certain amount in counties.
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah, definitely like that.
All right. We have one sent in by Roadie Guy. This is GCAHP8B Leap Day Hidden Challenge. I thought this was unique since we're, just recently off a leap day, but it's about logging at least one cache of 3 types that were hidden on leap day of any year.
Oh.
So, us cachers are out there trying to find so much, who's hiding on leap day. So that was a nice twist to the leap day conversation.
Yeah. So we want to also recognize Main Guy 20 and the Twonky for sending in additional things that just didn't make it tonight. We're running along as it is. We definitely want to thank everyone for
Mhm.
sending in your
Always.
submissions. And, we do a path tag drawing for those that submit their qualifications. And hopefully you submit your cache a day or two before the show. When you submit it the day of the show, it's a little hard to
We're
get it
kind of
in.
scrambling to get that. But you will
This
be entered into the drawing no
Right,
matter when you
right. We
send it.
enter you in the
Yeah.
drawing regardless of whether you make the show or not. So, and this month's winner is
K-Blast! We have another show with quite the
wow.
one-person theme. That's always fun when that randomly happens. Total random. So congratulations. All right. Well, thank you all for a great conversation. Thank you to our guests for being here with us. We appreciate it. Remember, our next show is on the second Tuesday of July, the 9th, and this will be post challenge or Cash Fest and post Challenge Academy. So we'll be chatting about things that have occurred between now and then. We want to see all of you guys get more and more passionate and see what gets accomplished between now and then. And remember, show notes will be posted shortly after the show airs in the video description and linked in the podcast description.
And you know that Emily and I are traveling.
Mhm.
Maybe not as much to finish out the end of the year, but I'll be up in West Geobass. She'll be at Going Caching at
Mhm.
least. And so when you see us, say hello, and then reach out with what's right underneath our name there.
Say a special
There it
phrase.
Say a phrase, and I still
I guess
have a few things
say
left.
for our audio listeners what that
Oh,
is.
that's true.
Yeah, in
So,
fairness.
In
All right.
fairness, if you see me, tell me challenge accepted.
And I'm always challenge completed.
That's right. That's right.
So this month's quote comes from General George Patton. Accept challenges so that you may feel the exhilaration of victory.
Absolutely. Love it.
We want to thank you all for being part of our community, part of our audience. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And remember, challenges are not about the numbers. It is about the challenge.
Challenge accepted. Thanks, everyone.
Good night, everybody. Thank you guys for being here. Jesse, Nels, appreciate it. Hang out for while we close the show.